Let's talk about Rollback.
Rollback is fundamentally, it's a science fiction novel, but fundamentally it's also a love story. It's about a committed, caring couple who are both 87. They've been married for 50 years, and they've got, everything's going great for them. And they know they're coming to the end of their natural lives and don't feel bad about it. They've got children, they've got grandchildren, they have successful careers. The career the woman had, she was a SETI researcher, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And she, 40-odd years previously, had decoded the first ever radio signal received by aliens, and it had orchestrated Earth's reply. Now, as she's 87, the aliens' response is being received on Earth. I'm out of the game, I'm old, I'm too old for this. A wealthy industrialist says, no, you're the only one who could figure out what they said the last time. We need you, not just for this message, but for this ongoing dialogue. And he offers to pay for a rollback, title of the book, which is a rejuvenation procedure. They say we can take you at 87 and make you physically 25 again. You can be our person talking with the aliens for decades to come. She says, not without my husband, not after all this time, not without Don. The industrialist hems and haws, very expensive procedure, finally says, okay, I'll do it for both of you, pay for both of you. He does. It works for Don, her husband, and it fails for Sarah. And the story deals with the emotional ramifications for a family that has worked well for decades on end, when suddenly there's this huge disparity. One young, one old. Can love transcend that? That's what the novel explores.
That's what makes you different from, say, Michael Crichton, who's like, look at my research, whoa, as crappy as it sometimes is, not mentioning his last global warming book, but I am. But he just, it's like, here, look at this, but the human aspect gets left behind. And Arthur C. Clarke, wonderful writer, but, the people are just...
Well, this is it. There's so much science fiction where characters are given short shrift. Now, sometimes the ideas are spectacular and make up for that. I am a huge Arthur C. Clarke fan, but I can't tell you, in 30 seconds, I can't give you a character sketch of any character in any Clarke book and say,
except Hal.
Except Hal, who is non-human, right?
Yes.
And that you have to at some point recognize that that's a failing on the author's part, no matter how gigantic the author is in some other ways. Not writing vivid, believable characters is failing at part of the writer's job. And I really, really like to think, the readers will judge, but I like to think that the characters in Rollback and in my earlier books are memorable, are distinct one from the other, and are realistic, that their reactions aren't, cosmically mind-boggling reactions, but are kind of the quiet, introspective human reactions that we would have even in the face of mind-bogglingly big cosmic events. I wanted to write a book that did not have a villain. There's no villain in this book. There's no evil guy. Nobody does anything bad. It's circumstances that go wrong. What Cody McGavin, the industrialist who paid for the rollbacks, intended was a wonderful gift to both Sarah and Dawn. What Dawn and Sarah do with each other and try to do with the struggles in their hearts are, Dawn does not necessarily always honorable things when he becomes young, but he struggles with it and tries to make right as time goes on. It was important to me to write a book about that, Faulkner said, the only thing worth writing about is the human heart in conflict with itself. And so often in science fiction, we set that aside in terms of the conflict with the bug-eyed monster or the invading Martians. No, it's possible to write a science fiction story with Darth Vader being nowhere near the stage.
Can you give me a hint? I'm not asking for the title or to read the galleys, but what territory you were looking at next?
Well, there are no galleys yet. I'm hard at work. I've just sold a new 3-book contract. That's not the right phraseology. I've just signed a new 3-book contract for a trilogy about the World Wide Web gaining consciousness. It's called WWW, the trilogy, and the books each start with W. Wake, Watch, and Wonder. And my little, everything is high concept these days. You go in and you pitch something to your publisher. And I'll have to explain what this pitch means, but you'll get it once I explain it. I said it's William Gibson meets William Gibson. Now, why is that apropos? One man named William Gibson wrote Neuromancer. The other William Gibson wrote The Miracle Worker, which is the famous play about Annie Sullivan, the teacher of Helen Keller, bringing Helen Keller up to consciousness, raising her out of this darkness that she had, through accident, descended into. What I'm trying to do is tell the story of, in this case, a young blind girl who becomes aware, through interesting means, that there's an intelligence lurking in all those interconnections in the World Wide Web. That intelligence has no awareness of the outside world, just as young Helen Keller did. And she goes in and essentially brings out and uplifts the worldwide mind. And the novel will deal with what I think is a more realistic, now all credit to Bill Gibson, who knew how it was going to turn out in the days of DOS computers and no World Wide Web when he wrote, who knew? But with all due credit to Bill Gibson, it's time for another reimagining of what the future of humanity and computers are going to be from the vantage point of 2007 rather than the vantage point of the early 1980s. And that's what I'm working on. I'm having a blast with it.
I can't wait.
Thanks.
Get in that office right now.
I will. I got to get back to work.
The book is Rollback. I've been speaking with the author Robert J. Sawyer, and Rollback is distributed in Canada by H.B. Fenn and Company.